The phone notes that reveal an alleged plan to bait Kim Jong Un with drones. So, secret drone flight from South Korea to the heart of Pyongyang were part of the ploy by the former president to rattle the North Korean leader. South Korean prosecutors have alleged as they released the new details of a plot. They say police preceded a foiled attempt to declare martial law. Memos found on the senior defense officer's phone purportedly reveal plans by former President Yoon Suk-yeol and two other senior defense officers to aggravate Kim Jong Un enough to justify a shocking late-night military control order issued last December. Prosecutors released the evidence on Monday, appearing to confirm North Korea's claims that South Korea sent covert drones to the country to drop anti-regime leaflets last October. The flight prompted a rare and fiery statement from Kim Yoonjung, Kim's power sister. The North vowed to sever all road and rail connections to the South, blowing up two roads within its territory, but stopping short of military action. Weeks later, Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law, citing the need to protect the river South from North Korean Communist forces. The snap decree was lifted within hours when South Korean lawmakers pushed past troops to vote it down. The first step to reckoning for Yoon Suk-yeol that's still playing out in court. The new indictment Monday adds to Yoon Suk-yeol's mounting legal battles, which include the trial underway from alleged insurrection, and provides more pieces to the political puzzle that's yet to be fully explained. Yoon Suk-yeol denies he ordered the drones to fly to Pyongyang to provoke North Korea, and that he attempted to stage an insurrection through martial law. Yoonjung, one of Yoon Suk-yeol's lawyers, called it the indictment a one-sided prosecution that failed to uphold even the basic tenet of legal logic beyond being absurd. However, the spokesperson and prosecutor for the council, Park Ji-young, said the prosecutors were upheld at what they had uncovered, and on Monday, they released the memos they say support their claim. The drones buzzing Kim Jong Un's home. The allegations date back to last October when North Korean state media reported that South Korean drones had violated Pyongyang's airspace on multiple occasions, dropping anti-regime leaflets. The Korean Central News Agency called KCNA released photos showing one drone logged in the tree, described by analysts as resembling a South Korean military unmanned area vehicle. KCNA also showed images of the drone it said was spotted flying low in the skies above the home of North Korean authoritarian supreme leader Kim Jong-un, a retired Korean Army four-star general, now a lawmaker in the ruling Democratic Party, which sits in opposition to Yoon Suk-yeol's former party, told CNN in July that he had received the details of the drone flight directly from whistleblowers of South Korea's drone operations command. According to Kim, the flight took place on at least three occasions: October 3rd, October 9 to 8 to 9, and November 13 of last year. Each believed that by sending drones into the heart of North Korea and dropping leaflets criticizing Kim Jong Un, the aim was to provoke a military response from the North, the South Korean lawmaker told CNN. It was like holding a knife to North Korea's neck, he added. North Korea's Kim Yo-jong issued her statement on October 12, condemning airspace incursions and warning of severe consequences. At the time, Kim Jong Un, then South Korea's defense minister, initially denied it, sending drones to North Korea, but soon changed his response to say he could not confirm North Korea's claim. After Yoon Suk-yeol's disastrous attempt to impose martial law, lawmakers from the now ruling Democratic Party demanded the inquiry into allegations the former president conspired to spark a national security crisis. Once empowered, the lawmakers passed the bill to appoint an independent council who released memos on Monday that they say reveal evidence of covert discussions about Yoon Suk-yeol's plans to provoke North Korea. A country with a long history of bombastic threats against South Korea and its allies. Among not found on the pawn belonging to the former Defense Counterintelligence Command Yoonjung were references to creating an unstable situation, projectors say. Must find and exploit once in a lifetime opportunity that can produce the short term effect. To do that, we must create an unstable situation or seize an opportunity that has been created. Read one note drafted October 18 last year, according to prosecutors. Another note read, targeting where North Korea laws face to such an extent that they feel they have no option but to respond. Locations listed included the capital, two nuclear facilities, Kim Jong Un's vacation homes, as well as Samjiyon and Wonsan. Samjiyon is regarded as the sacred site in North Korea for being the birthplace of Kim Jong Un's father, Kim Jong Il, and a symbolic location tied to his grandfather's anti Japanese resistance. The Wonsan Karma tourist area is one of Kim Jong Un's flagship development projects that has been hailed as the greatest success by the North Korean leader. Another memo from October 23 stated, core and final status containing praise such as at minimum national security crisis and at maximum Noah's flood, in the possible reference to Noah's Ark, where the only survivors of the biblical flood were those on board a mighty ship. A later note dated November 5 state, enemy November 5th state, enemy action must come first. There must be a wartime situation or a situation that cannot be controlled by police forces. Create the enemy's conditions. We must wait for the decisive opportunity. Park, the prosecutor's spokesperson, said further details could not be disclosed due to laws concerning military secrets. However, she added that evidence from the notebook belonging to former Defense Intelligence Commander No Sang-won suggested that discussions and preparations for the martial law were believed to have begun no later than October 2023, after a major reshuffle of South Korea's military generals. The alleged act of the president, who holds the supreme command over national security, and the defense minister attempting to use inter-Korean military tensions to create conditions for declaring martial law, is absolutely unacceptable, said Park. Lawmaker Kim Jong-ju, the retired general, said he was surprised the North Korean leader did not order a response from after alleged South Korean drones were spotted over the capital. In hidden sight, it was a godsend luck for South Korea that North Korea refrained from any military provocation and stopped a rhetorical threat, he said. Had North Korea chosen to respond with military action under those circumstances, it could have escalated into a localized conflict. North Korea's deployment of more than 10,000 troops to Russia as combat soldiers in the war against Ukraine may have dissuaded Kim from act further, said Kim. North Korea could have found it difficult to maintain two war front at the time because it would have meant causing a significant gap in combat capability. A frustrated leader's shocking act. Yoon Suk-yeol and his former defense officers Kim and Yo all face charges of harming the interest of the state by helping the enemy and abusing their power. The three are already on trial on insurrection charges relating to the martial law declaration. South Korea's military has yet to comment on the investigation or the indictment, citing on the ongoing legal proceedings. CNN has reached out to lawyers for Kim and Young. According to local media, Yo has said that he deeply regrets not challenging Yoon Suk-yeol's order. Yoon Suk-yeol, a firebrand conservative who has long taken a hard line on North Korea, narrowly won election in 2022, but his ruling party never had the majority in parliament and struggled to get its legislative agenda passed. It was a source of constant frustration for his administration, and towards the end of last year, that frustration exploded in spectacular fashion. On December 3rd, Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law in a late-night televised speech, saying there were anti-state forces within the opposition parties in the government that are sympathetic to North Korea. Armed soldiers descended on the parliament by helicopters and attempted to storm the chamber where lawmakers were gathered. Shocked and angry citizens, along with the parliament staff, rushed to barricade the entrances and fought to block the soldiers from reaching the chamber in chaotic scenes broadcast live in television. Though assembly members pushed through the soldiers and voted to overturn the martial law decree, Yoon Suk-yeol's actions triggered mass protests, legal challenges, and ultimately his removal from impeachment. Analysts say sending drone flights into North Korea could have been interpreted as an act of war, provoking a military response that could have escalated into war. The Korean Peninsula have been divided ever since the brutal war between the North and South ended with the Armistice Agreement in 1953. But the hostilities have never officially ended, and relations between the two navals have been precarious ever since. Leif Eric Easley, a professor at Ewha University in Seoul, said if Yoon Suk-yeol had ordered the drone flight, it would represent a dangerous interaction of domestic politics and security policy in South Korea. While some national security activities are necessarily clandestine and operate in legal gray areas, robust checks, balances, and polished vetting should ensure they serve national interest rather than personal agendas, easily said. Victor Cha, a Korea chair at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, said the potential international ramifications of the case are considerable, especially for the United States, a South Korean treaty ally with tens of thousands of troops and bases on the Korean Peninsula. Drone flight into North Korea, he added, would violate the armistice agreement between the two sides. We know that the North Koreans violate the armistice all the time, but they are not held politically accountable for it at home, he said. In the democracy like South Korea, you can be held politically accountable for that.